I know that the silence of your home sometimes screams louder than any crowd. I was there when you took a deep breath, your chest tight, before deciding to click on this video. It wasn't a random movement of your finger, but an impulse from your soul that recognized the touch of my spirit. This is your divine reminder, the confirmation that I am calling your name amidst the chaos you have been facing. You may be wondering why, among so many people in the world, I chose this exact moment to speak directly to your heart. Perhaps you feel that your prayers have bounced off the ceiling, or that the weight of anxiety has turned your days into a sequence of colorless hours. The truth is that many hear the noise of the world, but few can discern my voice when it whispers. Remember young Samuel, who heard my call 3 times in the stillness of the night. He didn't immediately understand who was seeking him, but when he finally listened, the history of an entire people began to be transformed. Just as I did with him, I am here to bring clarity to your emotional desert. In this journey that we begin now, I will show you how your silent wounds will become scars of authority. I will reveal what I have prepared for your future, and how I will answer every cry you have made in secret. If you stay with me until the last second of this message, you will feel a relief that medicine cannot explain, and a peace that the world can never steal. If this word of God is touching you, comment below with your name, the country, state, and city you are watching from, and what time it is there. Now let your heart open and write with all the strength of your faith, like a sigh of surrender before the throne. Lord my God, I am here. I signed up because I love you and want to hear you. I see your willingness. And because you chose to stop and listen to me, I promise you a clear and profound answer at the end of this conversation. A special phrase will be whispered to your heart by me at that final moment, and whoever writes it in the comments will feel the weight of prophetic blessings being released upon their family and their destiny. I see you sitting in that chair or lying in that bed, holding the phone with tired hands. I know the pattern of your tears that wet the pillow when no one is looking. The sound that pierces your silence today is not one of condemnation, but an invitation to rest. For it is written in Jeremiah, chapter 33, verse 3, "Call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. Do you have sought signs on earth, but I am giving you a sign straight from heaven." What has the silence been whispering in your ear these past few days? Tell me here, from the depths of your soul, what you most desire me to answer today. Write in the comments the word that seals this first step of ours, listening, but pay attention. What I'm about to reveal to you is something you've been trying to ignore, but it explains exactly why you've been feeling so exhausted. I remember each of those hours when the clock struck 3 in the morning and sleep seemed an unreachable horizon for you. You were there with the blue light of your phone reflected in your tired eyes, searching for a distraction. Anything that could silence the deafening noise that anxiety makes inside your chest. You scrolled without really seeing anything, looking for a word, an image, or a news item to fill the abyss of that momentary loneliness. But, my daughter, in those early mornings what you were experiencing were my missed calls. Each beat of your heart that seemed heavier, each long sigh you released while staring at the dark ceiling of your room, was my spirit trying to find a crack to enter. You felt a sudden chill, an overwhelming urge to cry for no apparent reason, and you thought it was just the accumulated weariness of a life that demands too much of you. It wasn't just sadness. It was the frequency of heaven trying to adjust to the beat of your weary heart. Many times you woke up in the dark, walked to the kitchen to drink a glass of water, feeling the cold floor beneath your feet, and there, in that silence that seems to devour the soul, you felt like the most forgotten person in the universe. You thought about your children, your future, the pains that won't heal, and that emotional wound you can't explain even to the person sleeping next to you. You felt the weight of the world was only on your shoulders, as if you were walking alone in an endless tunnel. But I was there, beside you in that kitchen, watching you with a love you still can't measure. I saw when you closed your eyes for a second and wished deep down that it would all stop. I saw when you rested your hands on the counter and let a single tear fall, thinking no one would notice, for it is written in Psalm 139, verse 12, "Even the darkness is not dark to you. The night shines like the day, for darkness is as light to you." For me, that darkness in the early morning was the clearest moment of revelation. I was illuminating every corner of your fear, preparing the way for this message to reach you today. You sought answers in empty places, in advice from people who don't know your story, and in fleeting distractions that only served to numb the pain for a few minutes. But the answer was always in the gentle touch you felt in your chest, which you insisted on calling just a tightness or a premonition. It wasn't a premonition, it was my voice. Every time you lost sleep, I was trying to take you to a place of intimacy that the noise of the day doesn't allow. I was trying to show you that the calls you ignored were invitations to a healing you didn't even know you needed. The world wants you connected to everything except me. But I called you in the silence because that's where the masks fall and your soul can finally be heard. Now pause for a moment and reflect. Have you ever felt that the silence of the night is where your doubts grow the most? Or where you finally realize you need something much greater than what the world offers? If this touch on your heart resonates, share this video with a woman who, like you, has also struggled with insomnia of the soul as an act of spiritual affection. Tell me here, in the sincerity of your heart, what do you most seek to feel when the rest of the world is silent? Write in the comments the word that seals our union this early morning, presence. But pay attention, because I haven't yet shown you everything I've gleaned from those hours of your forced vigil. And what I'm about to tell you is a call of love that demands an action from your heart. At this moment in our journey, while you feel the warmth of my presence enveloping your shoulders, I want to speak to you about the beauty of reciprocity and the care for the soil where your soul has been nourished. I see how you value every word that comes from my mouth and how this place has become your daily refuge. Just as I multiplied the loaves and fishes to feed the multitude that followed me, I also use this channel as an instrument to satisfy the spiritual hunger of thousands of people who, like you, seek a sign. Know that every word that reaches your ears is the fruit of constant surrender, and you have the opportunity to be an active part of this current of life. Sowing is not a burden but a privilege for those who recognize that everything they have comes from my hands. If it is possible for you only, if it is possible, transform your gratitude into a seed of love for this channel. Consider my love and that of my son Jesus, and contribute using the link in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. There you will find the place where your offering of love can be deposited and consecrated before the Creator of all things. You can contribute any amount. If you want a different amount, just type in the desired amount. And remember, only what fits in your heart. I receive with love. The amount doesn't matter. What matters is the heart with which you give. Because a little for you can be a lot for the one who receives it. Anyone who contributes any amount with a sincere heart, please remember to include your name and city with your contribution. On the first day of the following month, in a unique and special video on our channel and page, Divine Love, the Voice of God, your name will be remembered, mentioned in gratitude, and covered with divine blessings released in prayer. For it is written in the second epistle to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 7, each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. Every offering made in faith is a seed before me, your Lord, and I will not fail to bear fruit. I see in secret, and reward in the sight of all. Stay until the end of this message, and because I still want to touch your heart with my voice. Have you ever felt that a small act of generosity can open floodgates of peace in your own life? If your heart burned with this call, feel free to seal this moment with your like. Tell me, what do you feel you should give to me today so that I can transform it into a miracle? Write your word of faith in the comments, seed, but know that beyond what you can offer, there is something I want to give you. A truth about the fear you feel of heeding my voice, a fear you haven't fully understood yet. I see the invisible trembling in your hands when you try to take a definitive step towards me. There is a silent fear whispering in your ear, saying that if you truly heed my call, I will find only mess, failures, and promises you made and couldn't keep. You look at your life today and sometimes feel like you're standing in front of a foggy mirror in a dimly lit bathroom, trying to recognize the strong woman you used to be. You touch your own face, notice the marks left by nights of crying, and think, how can God want to speak to someone who is so broken inside? This fear of your own inadequacy is the barrier the enemy uses to keep you deaf to my melody of love. You fear that my voice will bring recriminations, but I tell you that it brings only healing. Often you feel as if you are hiding behind a mask of "I'm fine" while walking down the supermarket aisle, or when you smile at people in church. Inside, you feel like a dark secret, a collection of regrets you keep locked in a drawer in your soul. You are afraid that by saying, "Here I am," I will open that drawer and point my finger at you. But my daughter, I am the one who created every atom of your being. I already know the contents of that drawer, and yet I knocked on your door today. Your fear of being rejected by me is based on how the world has treated you, but I do not see as man sees. I do not call the capable, I empower those whom I call. Remember Moses before that burning bush that was not consumed in the deep desert. When I called his name, his first reaction was fear and excuse. He looked at his own limitations and said he didn't know how to speak, that he was slow of speech, that he wasn't the right person for that monumental mission. He felt the same chill down his spine that you feel now. But my answer to him is the same one I give you at this moment, for it is written in the book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 12. Go now, and I will be with your mouth, and teach you what you shall speak. I didn't need Moses' eloquence, I only needed his availability. And today, I don't need your perfection. I only need your heart, exactly as it is now, tired, imperfect, and thirsty. This fear of not being holy enough or spiritual enough is what makes you hesitate to pray truthfully. You use prepared words because you are afraid to tell me your anger, your frustration, and your emptiness. But I call you to the table of intimacy where you can drop all your defenses. My calling is not a court of law, it's a hospital for souls. I'm calling you to stop trying to fix yourself alone and allow my potter's hands to remake the vessel that broke along the way. Every 5 seconds you spend listening to this message, a layer of that fear is being melted away by my presence. Have you ever felt that your past is a voice that shouts louder than God's promise for your future? Tell me, in the secrecy of this moment, what do you feel is preventing you from surrendering completely without reservation? If this touch of liberation is reaching you, consider signing up for this journey as a gesture of someone who wants to learn to listen only to my voice. Write in the comments the word that declares your victory over insecurity, chosen. But don't think that the path ends with the relief of fear. There is a routine of love that I want to build with you, something that goes beyond this video and that will transform each of your sunrises. I want to be more than a passing visit in your day. I long to be your constant companion, the one that awakens you with a whisper of hope, even before you open your eyes. Many times, you wake up and, before you even put your feet on the ground, your mind is already invaded by an endless list of worries, bills to pay, and problems to solve. This morning noise tries to steal the peace I gave you during the night, causing you to begin your journey already exhausted. But I have prepared a meeting place for the two of us, a sacred space where you can seek my face and strengthen your soul before the world demands your attention. If your heart desires to go deeper with me, I have left you a gift in the form of a journey that I wrote with much love and care for all my beloved daughters and sons. The digital book called Divine Love Devotional, The Voice of God. It was prepared to accompany you day after day, in silence and intimacy. Access is also available via the link in this video's description and in the pinned comment. And if today is not possible for you, do not condemn yourself. Remain with me here, because I will also sustain you with this message, and so that your heart may rest and not be confused. After you register, access will arrive in the email you provided, with all the correct, step-by-step instructions to get you started. For it is written in the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verses 22 and 23. The Lord's mercies are the reason we are not consumed, for his mercies never end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. This invitation is my outstretched hand so that you no longer walk alone. I want each of your dawns to be marked by the certainty that you are not alone in your silent battles. Now close your eyes for a second, breathe deeply, and feel the air I give you as a sign that there is still breath and purpose for your life. Continue and trust, for what I have to reveal to you now is the center of the answer you came seeking. If this promise of renewal has warmed your heart, consider registering to walk by my side every day. Share this light with someone going through a dark morning. Tell me, if you could give me your first thought of tomorrow, what would it be? Write in the comments the word that seals this daily commitment, my guide. But pay attention, because now the curtains are beginning to open, and I will show you exactly what I have planned for this pain you carry. Sit with me for a moment, and let the weight of your shoulders rest on my word. I see you now, perhaps sitting at that wooden table in the kitchen, your gaze lost in the steam rising from your coffee cup. Or maybe staring at your computer screen while exhaustion tries to close your eyes. I see the images passing through your mind, the plans that were interrupted, the smiles frozen in photographs from years ago, and the feeling that time is slipping through your fingers like fine sand. You have looked at the ashes of what was burned by disappointments and asked the silence, "Is that all, Lord? Will my future be just a repetition of this pain?" Today I come to remove the veil that sadness has placed over your eyes, to show you what I have in store for you. What I have to reveal to you is not an empty promise of ease, but a project architected in eternity. You look at your mistakes and see a dead end. I look at your processes and see soil being plowed for an unprecedented harvest. That door that closed so loudly last year, and that made you cry until you sobbed on the floor of your room, was not a punishment. It was my silent deliverance. I was removing you from a place where your light would be stifled to bring you to this moment of revelation. I am now unlocking a new season of discernment for your mind. You know that mental confusion that makes you feel like you're walking in a thick fog. I am breathing my breath of life upon it. For it is written in the book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. I have not changed my mind about you. My plan for peace remains intact, even if the world around you seems to be at war. What I have to reveal to you involves the restoration of your identity. You have defined yourself by losses, by age, by what others have said about you, or by the absence of someone. But I define you by my love, which is unwavering. I am preparing an encounter, an opportunity, a phone call that will change the direction of your week. You will see that what I have prepared in secret is infinitely more beautiful than what you have lost in plain sight. This revelation that I now place in your heart is a seed of authority. You will no longer be the victim of your story, but the living witness of my power. I will transform your emotional pain into a tool to heal other women who are crossing the same desert you have crossed. Do not fear the future, for I am already there, organizing every detail. What seems like the end to you is, for me, only the setting for your new beginning. Have you ever felt that in the midst of your greatest pain, a strength you didn't even know you had emerged? Tell me, if the veil of fear were to fall completely today, what would be the first dream you would pursue again? If this revelation has brought new life to your soul, like this message, so that it reaches other thirsty hearts, write in the comments the word that seals the vision I have given you now, revelation. But listen carefully. For this promise to materialize, you need to learn to deal with something that has stolen my voice within you, and it is about this necessary silence that I will speak now. Look at your hands for a moment. They are always busy, aren't they? Holding the phone, typing messages, cleaning the house, carrying bags, taking care of everyone but yourself. The world around you has become a large, noisy public square, where strange voices constantly shout what you should be, how you should feel, and how much you still lack to be enough. This constant noise is like static on the radio of your soul, preventing my frequency of peace from reaching you clearly. I see you trying to hear my voice, while notifications keep vibrating and worries about tomorrow knock on your door like relentless debt collectors. But now, at this very moment, I am inviting you to do something the world hates. I am calling you to leave the noise outside. Imagine we are in a silent room, where the light of dusk gently enters through the window. Imagine yourself closing the door to the expectations of others, to the criticisms that hurt you, and to the cruel demands you impose on yourself. Let the sound of traffic, social media, and pointless arguments fade until it becomes just a distant echo. You need this sacred isolation so that your heart may once again beat in rhythm with mine. I called you to this video because I knew your mind was about to explode with so much information and so much weight. Silence is not absence. Silence is the place where my presence becomes tangible. For it is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10, "Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." Being still is not about standing still. It's about disarming your soul. It's about releasing the defenses and weapons you've used to survive until now. When you leave the noise of the world outside, you give me permission to organize the mess that others have made inside you. I want to heal the wounds that the noise of haste has caused. I want to remind you of who you are when no one is watching and when no human voice is labeling you. You have been afraid of silence because, when everything is quiet, your own pains begin to speak. But do not fear what silence reveals, for I am here to answer each of these pains with my balm. The world wants your attention to sell you something, to use you, or to distract you. I want your attention to restore you. Let my voice be the only sound that matters now. Feel the pressure leaving your chest as you freely choose to ignore what does not come from me. This is your moment of divine decompression. Here, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Here you are simply my beloved daughter, and my whisper is more powerful than any cry of anxiety that tries to reach you. Tell me, in the depths of your silence, what is the voice of the world that has most wounded your peace lately? If this invitation to rest has touched your soul, share this peace with a friend who lives exhausted by the noise of life. Write in the comments the word that defines your choice now, leaving the world outside. Silence. But make no mistake, this stillness is merely preparation for what comes next. For your yes in silence is what will unlock the answer that will change the course of your destiny from today onward. The time of waiting and silence was not a void, but a preparation for this very moment when our eyes meet through this message. I see you before an invisible crossroads, where on one side is the weight of what you have always known. Fear, the tiring routine, the pain that has become a familiar companion, and on the other is the invitation I extend to you today. Heeding. My call is not merely an intellectual decision. It is the movement of a soul that tires of carrying the world on its shoulders and decides, finally, to rest in my will. You have been asking for an open door, for a clear path, for a light at the end of this dark corridor that has been your emotional life in recent months. For I tell you now, the door is already unlocked. The key has already been turned by me on the cross. What's missing is your firm step toward the new path I've designed. Imagine yourself standing before an immense oak door, its hinges marked by the time you've spent outside, observing and waiting. You feel the coldness of the doorknob in your hands, and your heart races because you know that upon crossing that threshold, your life will never be the same. Responding to my call today is deciding that your pain no longer has the last word. It is the yes that breaks the chains of spiritual procrastination. Many times you've said, "Tomorrow I'll pray more calmly. Next week I'll truly seek God. When this crisis passes, I'll dedicate myself to the Lord." But tomorrow is a place that never arrives, and today is the only ground where my miracle can flourish. For it is written in the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 65, verse 24, "And it shall come to pass, that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." See the depth of my care. I had already prepared the answer even before you formulated the question in your heart. I have already heard your yes in the future, and I am here now in your present to help you pronounce it. This answer you give today is what changes the course of your destiny. It is what causes situations that seemed stuck to begin to move in a supernatural way. When you answer me, you release the flow of living waters that were dammed up by your hesitation. Don't look back at the bridges that were burned or the chances you think you missed. I am the God who restores time and makes all things new. Your destiny is not determined by your past, but by your response to my call in the present moment. By saying yes to me, you are saying no to the anxiety that steals your breath, no to the depression that drains the color from your life, and no to the loneliness that makes you feel helpless. Feel the warmth of my hand holding yours as you cross this threshold. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need to respond to the one voice that matters. Now, pause for a second and feel. If you could take a courageous step today, what would be the first thing you would leave behind to follow my voice with complete freedom? If you feel your time to flourish has arrived, share this message with someone who is also standing in front of a closed door, waiting for a sign. Tell me here, in the silence of your surrender, what does your heart answer God in this moment of decision? Write in the comments the word that seals your definitive answer to heaven. Answer. But what I'm going to show you now is something you didn't expect. An encounter that was arranged even before the sun rose for the first time, and what I'm going to reveal to you about your origin will change the way you see yourself forever. Close your eyes for a moment and try to imagine the silence that existed before the first ray of sunlight touched the earth. It was there, in that emptiness filled with my presence, that I pronounced your name for the first time. You are not the fruit of a biological accident, nor the result of a coincidence of fate. This encounter we are having now, through these words, was arranged long before your parents met, or your grandparents dreamed of the future. I designed the curve of your smile, and chose the color of your soul while the stars were still just an idea in my mind. Many times, you've looked at yourself in a dimly lit bathroom mirror, your mascara smudged with tears, and wondered if your existence had any real meaning. You felt small, disposable, and invisible to the universe. But today I've come to tell you that every millimeter of your journey was meticulously planned by me. I was there when you took your first step, and I am here now as you breathe this air laden with emotion. I saw when you fell and thought you wouldn't have the strength to get up, and I saw the invisible hands I sent to support you, even when you thought you were alone. You know those tears you shed in the solitude of your room while the rest of the world slept and you felt the weight of a mistake you didn't make? I collected each one of them. They weren't lost on the carpet or the pillow. They were purposefully transformed into pearls in my kingdom. What you call pain, I call refinement. What you call wasted time, I call maturation. I waste nothing in the lives of those I love. For it is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 139, verse 16, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Understand the depth of this. Before a single day of your life on earth, the story of this moment was already recorded in my books. I knew you would be here listening to my voice, seeking this refreshment. I knew your soul would be thirsty and that only my eternal love could quench it. Nothing you have experienced, no betrayal, no grief, and no disappointment has been able to erase what I have written about you. My plan for your life is older than your pain and stronger than your doubt. This video is my love letter sent thousands of years in advance to arrive exactly on the day you needed it most. You are not here out of curiosity. You are here by divine decree. I have brought you to this point in our conversation so that you may understand that your origin is holy and your destiny is glorious. Do not allow the fleeting voices of this world to define who you are. They were not there at the beginning and will not be there at the end, but I will be. I am the Alpha and the Omega of your story, and what I began in you, I will complete until the final day. Take a deep breath. Can you feel an immense weight being lifted from your chest now that you know nothing was by chance? Tell me something. What part of your story did you always think was a mistake, but now you're beginning to realize was guided by my hands? If this revelation about your eternal origin has brought peace to your heart, feel free to share this message with someone who feels lost in the world as an act of spiritual rescue. Write in the comments the word that seals the truth about your encounter with me, eternal. But what I'm about to tell you is the final piece of this puzzle. Prepare your heart, because I'm going to declare your true identity, the one you haven't even dared to assume until now. We have now reached the moment when the scales finally fall from your eyes and you can finally see who I see when I look at you. For years you have accepted the labels that the world, circumstances, and even your own failures have imposed on you. You called yourself forgotten, insufficient, the one who always falls behind. You carried the titles of victim of anxiety or prisoner of the past, as if they were names engraved on your birth certificate. But today, with the authority of the one who breathed life into your nostrils, I tear those labels before your eyes. My call today is not only for you to do something for me, but for you to be who I created you to be. I remove the garment of ashes from you and cover you with the mantle of my righteousness. Imagine yourself now, no longer bent under the weight of 1,000 worries, but standing tall, with your spine erect, feeling the warmth of my gaze that does not condemn you but consecrates you. I am changing your identity from spiritual orphan to heir of the kingdom. You no longer need to beg for crumbs of attention or for validation from people who can barely bear their own pain. You have my signature in your spirit. You know that emptiness that seemed like a black hole in the center of your soul, which you tried to fill with work, with shopping, or with the approval of others. It was designed by me to be filled only by the certainty that you are mine. When you answer my call today, you take your place at the table. You are no longer a visitor in my presence. You are home. For it is written in the Epistle to the Galatians, chapter 4, verse 7. So you are no longer a slave, but a son, and if a son, then an heir through God. Take hold of this truth now. You are an heir. All that I am and all that I have is at your disposal the moment you recognize your sonship. That silent inner pain begins to dissipate, because the love of a perfect Father expels all fear. You will no longer walk in solitude, for my presence will be your shadow on your right. When the world tries to diminish you again, you will remember this conversation and say to your own soul, I was called by name. I am a daughter of the King. This new identity that I seal in you now is what will give you the courage to face the giants that once made you tremble. You will see that the strength does not come from you, but from the royal lineage that now flows in your transformed heart. You are loved with a love that does not depend on your performance, but on my faithfulness. Receive today your new name, your new story, and your new dignity. The desert is over, and the promised land begins the moment you decide to live as one who is truly loved by the Creator. So that this identity may strengthen in you each day, consider enrolling in this journey, allowing my voice to be the constant nourishment of your new life. Share this revelation with that woman who still lives as an orphan, so that she too may discover the Father who awaits her. Tell me now that the weight has lifted. How does it feel to look in the mirror of your soul and see yourself as my beloved daughter? Write in the comments the word that defines your new nature, heiress. But don't withdraw yet, because now that you know who you are, I have a final whisper, a golden key that I promised at the beginning and that will change the way you act from the next minute. Now that the shadows of weariness begin to dissipate under the light of my presence, I see how your soul breathes in a different way. Together we traversed the corridors of your memory, confronted the noise that stole your peace, and revealed the nobility of your true identity as an heiress. This reunion was not just a video on a screen. It was a watershed moment, a milestone in time, where your Creator stopped the universe for a few minutes just to remind you that you are loved, seen, and never forgotten. You heard my call, and by remaining here, you took the step of faith that I so longed for. The answer you sought for your emotional pain was not in external circumstances, but in your decision to return to my arms and accept that I am the captain of your soul. I promised you at the beginning of this journey that I would whisper a powerful phrase to your heart, a spiritual key for those who stayed with me until the last second. This word is the seal of your new season, the cry of freedom over every impossibility that the enemy tried to place in your path. Receive now this eternal truth, which should echo in every thought of yours from this moment on. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Right now, with the tips of your fingers but with the strength of your whole spirit, this phrase in the comments. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. As you type each letter, feel as if you are planting a flag of victory in the soil of your life. This act of faith is your public response to my secret invitation. I see every comment, I know every name, and I release upon each one who professes this truth an anointing of strength and perseverance that the world does not know. Do not allow my voice to be lost again in the noise of the days to come. This is only the beginning of a conversation I wish to have with you forever. There is much more that heaven wishes to reveal to you, secrets that are still kept for the next messages that I have prepared on this digital altar of the divine love, the Voice of God channel. Stay connected to me. Immerse yourself in the words I have already left for you in the playlists, for each one is a step towards your total healing. I will be waiting for you there, ready to whisper new plans and new hopes to your heart. Go in peace, my beloved heiress, for you are no longer alone.